Hey beautiful people, what is up and welcome back to my channel. I'm Jamila and I love all things beauty. I love all things makeup, I love all things skincare, and I especially love sharing my tips and tricks on how to find high-end and luxury beauty products at bargain prices. Yes, we do. Okay, this video is long overdue. I have been meaning to share my sort of favorite palettes of 2021 for a while now, but you know, things got a little bit busy, so it's a little bit delayed, but it is what it is. Here we go. When I decided that I wanted to share my favorite eyeshadow palettes of 2021, I honestly didn't know how I wanted to do it. And this video today is actually inspired by Mandy Leah. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Her channel will be linked down below, because I was watching her video, and this was around the time when I was watching a lot of 2021 favorites, and I saw people do like ranking all of the eyeshadow they tried in 2021, picking their top 10, their top 15, their top 20, and I knew that just didn't feel like what I wanted to do. And then I saw her video and I was like, yes, that is the thing I want to do. So I'm doing this video inspired by Mandy Leah, where she basically did a 2021 eyeshadow palette award ceremony. So that's what we are doing. So welcome everyone to Jamila's 2021 eyeshadow palette awards. Now, she had a really cute like fancy envelope where she talked about like her runners up and all the categories and all that. I don't have all of that fancy thing, so I apologize, but it's still gonna be fun. So get you a little snack, get you a little drink. Let's just dive in. I do have everything written down. I have all of the palettes behind me, and we're going to go through all of the categories for my 2021 awards. I believe I have 12. I did add 2 categories that she didn't have in her original video, but it's all fun. I shouldn't have to say this, but quick disclaimer. If you like any of these palettes and they didn't win the award, that is your problem. Just kidding. Honestly, if you like any of these palettes, great, good job. If it didn't win, it is what it is. You know, eyeshadow is all makeup is very, very individualized. So if there's something that I'm showing that you liked or you loved or you hated, I am very happy for you on how your opinion has shaked out. This is just how I felt about the eyeshadow that I tried in 2021. Now, some of these palettes did release in 2021 and some of them did not. I'm just going to put it out there. I honestly can't remember when half of these palettes released, and I don't think I care that much. So let's just dive in, shall we? So the first category for the awards is the best small palette of 2021. The nominees are the Makeup Geek St. Jude collaboration palettes, the Nabla Cutie palette, specifically the Midnight palette, and lastly, the Tom Ford African Violet palette. That's the only one that I don't actually have with me, so I will insert a picture here. And the winner is, drumroll please, the Nabla Cutie Midnight palette. This, honestly, I went back and forth between this one and the Tom Ford palette. You guys know I absolutely love the Tom Ford African Violet palette. It is, in my opinion, one of his most unique color stories, and it just gives a really soft, beautiful look that if you were interested in wearing color for work, you could actually use that palette and it wouldn't be too in your face. But this Nabla palette, baby, I remember the first time I swatched this and the pigment was just bananas. Like, I was blown away. This Quiet Storm shade here, which is a duochrome, stunning. And this palette just had to take the cake. The Nabla formula is one of those that I find to be very, very interesting and unique and does not get a lot of hype. Nabla puts out a lot of unique formulas and textures as well. So within a Nabla palette, you could get a metallic shade, a satin shade, a matte shade, a topper shade, all within even their small 6-pan palettes. And this blue one was just, if you want a blue palette, that is a blue palette for you. So the next category for awards is the best high-end palette of 2021. This was a really hard one for me because I try mainly luxury and high-end eyeshadow palettes. So there's just so much to choose from. And the nominees for this category are the Pat McGrath Celestial Odyssey palette, which is Holiday 2021, the Danessa Myricks Lightwork Volume 3, and the Natasha Denona Trio Chrome palette. And the winner for this category is none other than Miss Natasha Denona herself, the Trio Chrome palette. This is hands down Natasha Denona's best eyeshadow palette. The matte shades in this perform like no other. There are none of her cream to powder matte formulas, which I know people either love or hate, but these powder mattes blend like a dream and they make creating eyeshadow looks so simple. What I love about this palette is that, and this is gonna sound very weird because I know a lot of people say that the multi-chrome shades in here are not multi-chrome enough, but I actually like that. What I like about this palette is that it makes multi-chrome eyeshadow everyday friendly. Sometimes I struggle with indie brand multi-chromes because it can be very impactful, very high in your face, like boom, wham, bam. And it's not something that I would wear every day. It's not something I would wear to work. But I think that this makes it wearable for those of us who want something just a little bit softer. There's a very slight, subtle shift to it, so it's not very crazy. And I have worn this so many times. At a point, I had to tell myself to put this down. And I just think that it's a very, very versatile, very well done palette from Natasha Denona. So this is my best high-end palette of 2021. And the next category in our eyeshadow awards is the best colorful palette of 2020. And the nominees are the Blends palette from Blend Bunny Cosmetics, the All I Ever Wanted palette from Alien Cosmetics, and lastly, the Danessa Myricks Lightwork Volume 3. And the winner is the Danessa Myricks Lightwork Volume 3. If you have followed me on Instagram, if you have watched my channel, you know that I am obsessed with this palette. These multi-chromes, multi-chrome. They give you all of the multi and all of the chrome. I'm saying. I am obsessed with how beautiful these shades are. What I like about this palette and why I thought this was the most colorful is because it's a multi-chrome. So within each shade in this palette, you get a multitude of shades. And I love the variety when it comes to the formulas. So you get some cream formulas, you get these holographic shades in the center that work both as eyeshadow as well as highlighters. And then all of the shades have a very, very strong shift to them. The only shade that I could have done without is this pressed glitter here. But other than that, I love every single shade within this palette. It doesn't have any mattes except for the one black matte. But to be honest, all you really need is that one black matte where you could either lay it down as a base and then put a multi-chrome on top of it. Or you could use that to create like a deep outer V and then, you know, really diffuse it into the crease and then just pop one shade all over the lid. This is an amazing colorful palette. I do enjoy the Blends palette, but it's just a rainbow palette, so I feel like I don't reach for this very often. And the Alien Cosmetics palette, even though it is an all multi-chrome palette, I feel like most of these shades are duochromes, if I'm being honest. And this is definitely one that I have to pair with another palette. So it's not a complete by itself palette for me. But this really is beautiful, and if you do get a chance to get your hands on it, I would recommend you pick this up as well. But Danessa knew what she was doing. Took all my coins, and this one was not cheap. But baby, the multi-chromes. Okay, so the next award in our show is for the most impressive eyeshadow formula. And the nominees are Sydney Grace, Kaleidos, and Glamlight. And the winner is Kaleidos. I should say this first. Sydney Grace, Kaleidos, and Glamlight were 3 new formulas to me in 2021. I did not try them before. I did not know what to expect going into them. And the one that literally burned a hole in my mind was the Kaleidos formula. I don't know what it is they be putting in their palettes, but it's just absolutely stunning. This is the collab that they did with Angelica Nyquist. And this is the one that actually made me fall in love with the Kaleidos formula. The mattes are super pigmented, but very, very blendable. So they're very easy to work with. The shimmers, shimmer. And they also come in a plethora of different finishes. I found that they give you like metallics, they give you duochromes, and then they give you topper shades, which is what I like in a formula. I like the versatility. While I do enjoy the Sydney Grace formula, I do find that you are gonna get mattes and you're gonna get metallics. That's it. There's nothing else that's like special or over the top. And the same with the Glamlight formula. You're going to get mattes and you're going to get some metallics. Like, that's pretty much all you're going to get. But this one, because of how unique it is and because of the variety of formulas that you get in it, Kaleidos has to take the best formula for 2021. So the next category we have to talk about is the Slow Burn palette of 2021. This basically is the palette that you weren't really feeling at first, but then it grew on you. So the nominees for this are the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk palette, the Sydney Grace Tiny Marvels palette, and the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette. And the winner is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk palette. This is such a basic neutral palette. It's literally a basic pinky neutral palette. And I remember picking this up and being like, why did I buy this? Because when you really look at this palette, there are 4 shimmer shades and it is a majority matte palette. But when I put this on my eyes, when I dipped my brush into this, the quality of these shadows, I was like, why is Charlotte Tilbury giving us a hot mess in her quads and not giving us the premium formula that she has in these big palettes? Because the formula in here was absolutely amazing. And this is the palette that I reach for when I need to feel like a girl boss, if I'm being honest. Like, this is the palette that I wear to work when I want just a very subtle, natural, like easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. No, just easy breezy look that I think is absolutely sophisticated. And what really pushed this palette over the edge is that I actually wore this on Christmas to take family photos, but then got engaged on Christmas. So this has like a really special place in my heart now. And this is going to be one of like my forever love palettes, and a palette that I would never actually get rid of. So this really grew on me. And if you are worried watching this that it's not going to work if you have a deeper complexion, it actually does work really well on my skin tone. It's very, very pigmented. I didn't expect that from Charlotte, but Charlotte gave what she's supposed to give in this palette. Our next category is the Love at First Sight palette. Now this is very opposite to the Slow Burn. This is the palette that I fell in love the first time I saw it. And the nominees are the KKW Camo palette. Don't at me, don't fight me, it is what it is. So this is the KKW Camo palette. The Pat McGrath Celestial Odyssey palette. And the Odin's Eye Giant Wolves palette. And the winner is Miss Patricia. This palette was so beautiful. This palette actually made me buy it on launch day. And first of all, y'all already know how I feel about paying full price for anything. But when I saw Mama Pat gave us this green shade, I was like, okay, I knew that I needed to have this. And what I loved about this palette too was that the packaging was clearly a step up from the year before's holiday packaging. So you got the black lacquer on the inside. There was no crooked sticker on the front, which drove me nuts from like the last time. And it just seemed like there was a little bit more versatility and a little bit more cohesiveness with this palette. The palette from the holiday collection the year prior, Celestial Divinity, was, in some ways I felt like very colorful and a little bit all over the place, and I just could not put things together. What I appreciated with this one was that, yes, it definitely leans a little pinky, but you got like the basic neutral shades, so this really nice crease color, this deep brown, that allowed me to have a little bit more versatility. Last year's mattes were pink mattes, like they were pink toned mattes, and I felt like that really limited how I could use it. So this was a palette that I fell in love with at first sight and literally purchased on launch day, which is very, very unusual for me. And I'm not mad. I'm mad that I didn't get the super discount that it was like a couple weeks ago, but this was definitely one that had to be my collection. Our next category is the top neutral palette for 2021. And the nominees are the Glamlight Chocolate Martini palette, the Nars Climax palette, and the Too Faced Born This Way palette. And the winner is Glamlight Chocolate Martini palette. This palette is so unassuming. Like, I remember seeing this and thinking, this is a basic neutral palette, and this literally smacked me in my face and said, bitch, where? Because the quality on this is phenomenal. And while, yes, it is a neutral palette, I found that it's very, very versatile. Now, this really beautiful copper shade you can do a lot with. This purple shade, it's a purple duochrome shade, gives you a lot of really unique looks. And this is what actually got me really impressed with the Glam Light formula, because this was the first palette I tried. I was completely blown away by it, and then I was like, oh, this is what y'all do? If you take the food packaging aside, the quality of the Glam Light shadows are just absolutely fabulous. And what I love about this is that this is a neutral palette with a twist. It's not just brown eyeshadow. So if you are looking for a relatively affordable indie neutral eyeshadow palette, I think that this is an amazing one to have. The next category I'm super excited about, because this is the still relevant eyeshadow palette of 2021. And I really appreciate this one because I tried a lot of new makeup in 2021, but I also owned a lot of makeup prior to that. And as I am thinking about my collection, I really want to use the palettes that I've had in my collection for a while and that I know I love. So this was a way for me to revisit some of the palettes that I have in my collection that I still love to use, that are not like the newest and, you know, shiniest thing on the scene there. So the nominees for this category are the Juvia's Place Magic Mini Palette, the Jackie Aina and ABH Collab, and the Makeup by Mario Master Metallics Palette. And this one I actually just recently used in a video, so I'll link that down below. And the winner is, you already know, Miss Jackie has no competition. I have said this time and time again, I will say it again. This is literally the best eyeshadow palette ABH has ever put out. The formula in here is just a little bit more elevated than the other ABH palettes. And I think that this is 1000% still relevant, especially if you are of a deeper complexion. This palette gives you everything that you want and everything that you need. Every single shade in here is usable by someone of a deeper complexion. And there's just no beating this. Like, I love every look that I created with this. This is a palette that I still reach for till today and still relevant, will forever be relevant, period. So the next category in our award series is the best monochromatic palette of 2021. And I typically don't have a lot of monochromatic palettes, but let's dive into the nominees. So the first nominee is the ABH and Novena Pro Pigment Volume 5. Beautiful purple palette. Literally a purple lover's dream. The Glam Light Dirty Martini palette. And lastly, the Natasha Denona Gold palette. And the winner is the ABH Novena Pro Pigment Volume 5. This is the palette that made ABH relevant again. Like, she killed it with this. And even though it does seem really large, really monochromatic, really redundant, I do feel like there's a lot of versatility with this palette. Like, you're gonna get a purple look, don't get me wrong. If you were thinking you're gonna get something else, it's gonna be a purple look. Even these deep browns on this side have a purple undertone to it, so your look does come out purple. But I think that even with the amount of shades in here and the fact that this is very, very, very purple, there is a lot of versatility to this. And if ABH continues along this path, whether it be with the Novena line or their smaller, like, standard palettes, I think that they're gonna be fine. But amazing, so amazing. So we have 3 categories left. So the next category is the best indie palette of 2021. And the nominees are the Nomad Cosmetics Haunted Europe palette, Butte Bean and Shroud Cosmetics It's Freaking Bats palette, and the Odin's Eye Giant Wolves palette. This was a really, really hard one, but I had to give it to the Odin's Eye Giant Wolves palette. This just killed it. I remember this was also one of those palettes that I kind of fell in love with at first sight. And I was like, that is stunning. That is gorgeous. That color story speaks to me on so many different levels. And then when I got it, the quality was amazing. The shades were super amazing. The multi-chrome shade in here, stunning. So I just Oh, I need to play in this again. And you can get a variety of looks. What I liked about this palette is that you have the blues, you have the pinks, you have the greens. Like, you just have so many different color stories in here at the same time that just gives you so many different looks. And they all lean in that really rich kind of grunge category that I don't have a lot of. The next eyeshadow palette category of the night is the best collab palette of 2021. And the nominees are the Kaleidos and Angelica Nyquist Club Nebula palette, the Annette and Menagerie Cosmetics Serenity palette, and lastly, the Odin's Eye and Tina from the Fancy Face Hummingbird palette. First of all, I love all of those creators. They are amazing. If you're not already following them, be sure to go and head to their channels and give them a follow. But I had to give this to the Kaleidos Club Nebula palette. Like, this is so beautiful. I can't get over how beautiful and how unique this is. Not only is this a palette that I think is absolutely stunning, I feel like the color story in this is really unique. Like, I would not have put this together. Even though it might seem like it is a little bit random, these colors work really well, and I'm able to think of looks really easily. Like, I don't feel confused. I don't feel overwhelmed when I use this palette. I just get really beautiful looks, and the quality in here is top notch. Okay, and we are down to a final eyeshadow award of 2021. This was the hardest thing that I've ever had to do in my life. I'm being really dramatic, but this is super hard. And this is the best eyeshadow brand of 2021. And the nominees are Pat McGrath, Natasha Denona, and Charlotte Tilbury. And the winning award goes to Miss Natasha Denona. I know you are looking at this like, is Jamila high? Did she lose her mind? No. You guys know I love Mama Pat, and you know that she will always have my heart. But Natasha Denona killed it this year when it comes to eyeshadow. And I tried the most Natasha Denona palettes I've ever tried in my life in 2021. I got her 2018 holiday releases. I got the Natasha Denona Zendo palette. I got the Trio Chrome palette. I got Circle Loco. I got Gold. I got Lila, I believe. Like, I went Natasha Denona crazy. And I just bought her two big 28 pan palettes. The blue green and the purple brown. Pretty sure that's wrong, but you know. And I have a newfound appreciation for the quality of Natasha Denona's shadows. While I do think that she's hella inconsistent, and I stand very firmly in that, like, there are some Natasha Denona palettes that I just don't like, I will say that when she gets it right, she gets it right. And palettes like the Trio Chrome palette and even the Zendo palette, which I know had a lot of controversy behind it, when she gets it right. I like that I can turn to the Zendo palette when I want a more soft, subtle look. And I can do both warm tones and cool tones. And I like that I can go to the Trio Chrome when I want to amp it up a little bit. And what really made Natasha stand out to me in 2021 compared to Charlotte Tilbury and Pat McGrath is the versatility. Like, let's be honest, Mama Pat is gonna give us a pink palette. And that's what she did in 2021. I think we got like 3 pink palettes from Mama Pat. And Charlotte Tilbury is gonna give you even more pink than Mama Pat. They stick in their lanes, and it's fine. I'm not mad at that. I love them for equally different reasons. But Natasha Denona gives me a lot more color, a lot more versatility, and a lot more vibrance. Her Circle Loco palette was unbelievably colorful. Then she gave us the Trio Chrome palette, which has multi-chromes in it. Then we got the Zendo palette. Like, she gives us a lot of versatility. And while I think her formula is inconsistent, I do appreciate that she does have that cream to powder formula, which I think is quite unique. You know, Mama Pat gives us her special Blitz Astral VR shades, which you just can't touch that. Like, there's no words. But Natasha does give us, when she's ready, some really high shine, high impact metallic shades and some really nice cream to powder formula mattes that I think work just really well. So while I think she's very inconsistent, and for somebody who charges her price, she has the audacity to be inconsistent, and that's a problem. I have to give her the top brand of 2021 because she killed it for me, and I was very impressed. And of the palettes that I picked up, I am very happy that I have a great variety with what I was able to find in 2021. All right, so that's it from me, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this award ceremony. I really enjoyed doing this format to share some of my favorite palettes from 2021. If you liked this format, please, I would absolutely love if you would hit that like button. Leave a comment down below. You know, you can answer these categories you want. If you want, let me know what your top brand of 2021 wow. Let me know what your top brand of 2021 was. If you have not already done so, hit that subscribe button because I have so much content coming for you guys. It's insane. And share with a friend if you think they'll like the content. I'm just gonna pretend I know how to speak for the rest of it. I'm so tongue-tied. I'm so sorry. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I love you. Thank you for joining me on this, and I will catch you guys in my next one. Bye.